next is my gears. So I think obviously because I don't have the front derailleur yet, it's going to be the rear derailleur. I'm going to cable that up, put on my chain, and get this thing moving. It's coming together nicely. So I'm just going to cable up the rear derailleur. Obviously the rear derailleur is the right hand lever. So I'm just going to bring it closer and just have a closer look to see where exactly this stuff goes. Okay, so I still have the hood pulled back. You can see here this side, this little plastic. I don't know if you can see it properly. Let's see if you can get some light on it properly. So this plastic bit here. So this here, you can just get your finger on it and try to prick it out. Should be able to pull it out like that. So inside, behind it, you can see another white cable housing, or cable guide. So this is the cable that came with Shimano. I'm gonna unravel this. Yeah, that guide I showed you is over this side, but the cable, because there's a stop on one side of the cable, so obviously I feed this through here. Feed it the whole way through. And this should sit down in, when it gets to here, just leave it sticking up with that. Actually put it down underneath like so, so it sits within the lever. Give it a tug. See, that sits right back up in there. Okay, and then we come this side, and we have, so this goes around the guide right here. And I'm going to just close this over on top, and that's the first bit done. Now we need to get a housing in on top of that cable to bring it down to the joint here. This is the housing that came with it. Again, I'm going to feed cable up through it. This goes up and into the housing here. So you see, it actually goes up and slots in here, like so. Okay, so now we have to just get the right length for your bike then. There's a few things I have to do here. I have to add a barrel adjuster. This will allow for the cable to stretch and to be adjusted on the fly. This is my Ritchie barrel adjusters. And they will just slot in there like so. On this side too. Now I'm going to make this cable as short as possible. Obviously, again, make sure full net with jet. Okay, now do not make the mistake of cutting this, because you obviously cut the cable. Okay, so let's come back out. Okay, put it here. So the part that was on it, it comes with this fitting here, stops, it helps the weather from getting onto the steel of the cable, so just stick that on there. Okay, feed this through my barrel adjuster. down and feeds underneath. This bike feeds underneath like a little raceway. So just to fit through that. And to here. Because I'm going from road lever to a mountain bike and derailleur, I had to put in an adapter here just to change the ratio. I already spoke about it in another video if you want to go back and have a look at that. Okay, so this way JTech adapter comes with a little ferrule here, it slips into my stub. Here. And that will go into there. Yeah, that's right. Down here. Yeah, that's clamped. Now, when I index the gear here, this should move. Okay, so we got something to work with here. Superb. Now, I just need a 2mm Allen key to make some adjustments here. So as you can see, this won't actually go. Then I have to just you've got the H for the lower gears, the H, the L for the lower gears, the H for the higher gears, but you have also have a B screw here which adjusts how far down the derailleur can go, and I need to go more because as you can see it doesn't actually allow me to go onto the, if you look in there, that cog, it doesn't allow me to go onto the highest gear. So by adjusting this B screw, it allows me to move the derailleur down to allow me onto this big ring. So that's what I have to do first. Then I'm using my high and lows to set the range from the lowest gear to the highest gear. Once that's done, I do some fine tweaking, and then that'll be set. Okay, so I'm just going to screw this B screw in. You'll see this going down as I screw this in. Now, test this. Just pull it, this part with my fingers. See how far in it goes. So we're nearly there. Stopping there with my, just this here. If you look at this here, this is my limit screw. So we'll be adjusting that up to allow me in more. going the right way, so adjust that up. See where that gets me. Oh, nearly there. So you can see now I'm just, that sprocket in there is just touching the biggest gear. So I'm going to go further with this base screw to bring me down below it. Yeah, let's see where that gets me. Okay, that's me below it now. I have a bit more to go if I want it. Biggest cog, so that's good. And when I go down, it looks like I'm in a bit from the outside sprocket, so I'm going to adjust that other lemon screw to bring it out. Just a hitch. It's only roughly done now. I'll be fine tuning this one when everything's all together. Right, so that's all roughly set. I think now I just have to get a chain on this thing. There's still a lot of slack there. I'm going to try to pull up that slack. Just loosen off this plate. Pull it as tight as you can by hand and tighten it up again. Okay guys, welcome back. Yeah, the camera stopped working there. I don't know how much you missed. I think where I last was talking to you, I was putting on my derailleur, threading through my cable. I got that done. I have it loosely done so the derailleur limits are at the top and the bottom of the sprocket. I'll go through that with you again, but just do that roughly for now because you need the chain on to really set it properly. What else? Now my derailleur, front derailleur has come in, so I'm going to install that now. Then I'm going to put on the chain and get this thing moving. Oh, I forgot to mention, I put on my pedals. Again, I thought this was being videoed. Don't think it's really anything I have to go over again. This pedals just screw on. These are my mountain bike pedals. Spoke about why I chose them before. So this is my front derailleur. It's the band on type. The down tube here is 29mm, and this here is, let me see now. It's a band on. It's a medium to small, so it'll do a larger one as well. 29 would be on the smaller side. I think 28 is the smallest, but because this will do medium and small, if you just try to put the band on, that's loose. I'll bring you over to have a look. So that's fully closed and it's still rattling on the bar. So what they include these little spacers here just to shim it out. There's actually a little bit of sticky side on this, so you actually take off this little bit of sticky side and sticky sided tape it on there, and then that should go straight onto my down tube. You're sticking these on, just make sure, it doesn't really matter, but just make sure obviously you're not, should I showed you, you're not up here like this, you want to be down in the valley. Okay, so this isn't sticking up. And again, this is just to hold it, really just doesn't have to be stuck solid. Must have been a bit of grease there, I didn't notice. It's not really sticking. But I say it doesn't really have to. Once you've just clamped, it will not go anywhere. Shimano also sent this nice little bolt. Comes with the band on. So once you have this around your down tube, just screw this through. I'm just going to put a bit of my grease on this. So it just screws through there onto that and clamps it tight. And just give it a little nip. Just leave it so you can move it. So once you have that in place roughly and not tightened, you want the space between the biggest chain set to the derailleur to be about 1 to 2 millimeters. So what I normally do is get a 2mm Allen key That is my spacer, so I actually bring this down until I just get that space, that 2mm space. Okay. Okay. And then I line it up this way, just by eye at the moment. So just want to make sure you're not tilted out like that. I try to get it in line as much as possible. Okay. Okay. Now, as you can see here, I think I'm too far out. If I wanted to move the chain down into the smaller ring, I would have to move it further in. So that means it's one of my limit stops here are a bit out. So again, before I put the chain on, I like to do it roughly. And for the front derailleur, it actually can be hard to see. Actually, these small grub screws right here, the L and the H. So I move the L, you see moving out, but I actually want to move the other way. So it goes in more to the smaller ring. Okay. So now if we just pull this out by hand, you see how far it's allowed to go. That's just a bit too much for me, so I'm going to overshoot. No need to have it going that far, I don't think. Again, I'll fine tune this. So once I have that in and on the smaller ring, I think now I can put on my chain. Put on a chain is very simple. Just have to lace it through the chain set and the group set. Now if you're really particular, you could clean your chain here before you put it on and make it a little bit easier. Because chains tend to have this like sticky gunk on them to help them not rust on their packaging. However, it's a bit too sticky. It's not like the oil they put on. So I like to have the derailleur down to the smallest ring. It's easier just to lace it through. Okay. So now you have these here quick links. One side goes in to this side of the chain, and the other goes into the other. Okay. And now you want to try to get this loop through that stud there. Just get a grip of it. Same on both sides. Give it a pull. Right. So it's in, you can see it's in, but it's not in position yet. Let me just focus. More focus. So you can see here, this tab hasn't slid into place yet. So the way of doing that is just bring this tab through. Which sometimes actually when you put it through the tabs, it will slip into the place there. No, nearly did it. Okay, so but to do it, just give it a, and you hear a click. So when I push down, I'm holding the wheel, pushing down this, so what that does, it pulls the chain and gets it to click into place. So that is that. I'll fine tune that later. However, now I just need to put the cable through my derailleur, so my front derailleur will work. So as I was saying there, and I just got a bit but I forgot what I was talking about really. The front derailleur here, sorry, the chain is full of this like gunky stuff. You can, before you put it on, you can stick it in a jar full of brake cleaner and it'll take all that off. You can just, what I'm going to do, I put some brake cleaner on a rag and run it through the rag, clean it off, and then just apply my oil. So that's the way I'm going to do it. It is probably a better way to do it before you put it on, but I don't find it necessary. Depends how anal you are really. So yeah, do what feels right to you. Okay, so we're back to putting a cable through our dual levers. Same as the far side, you feed the cable through here and it comes out this side underneath this plastic and goes into your cable housing here, runs along your bar. Down the cable housing ends here then at the bar adjuster, and then the cable will run bare down to underneath my bottom bracket and then up here and into my derailleur. So up from the bottom bracket and into here and into my derailleur. So let's get started. First thing I like to do is get the cable housing right. So just the cable housing, stick it into one of those around where it's going to be traveling. It's going to come out here and it's going to be there. Make sure when you do a full turn, you can feel that pulling there. So if I had to cut that shorter, it would actually pull out. But say if I had a crash, it would pull out and break the cable or worse. So do the full stretch, and where it's going to be coming out here. Yeah, that's where that's going to be. Okay, so cut that just there. Cutter. And there we have it. It's important to use proper cable cutters for this. Don't use pliers. They won't work properly and it'll just flatten everything. And especially for cutting the actual cables, use your cable cutters. Okay, so now that's that right, I can take that out and feed through my cable. Feed it through here. You open. Feed it through here. It's going to come out here. Let's get this open out of the way. So just like I said, the way the cable comes through and around that channel and into my outer cable here and down to where I showed you. So I'll feed that through here. Okay, so when you get to here, it just doesn't go there. You need to put it into the bottom here. So pull it back out, just bend it down slightly, push it down into there, and give it a pull this side. I should make it set home. So now it'll ground this channel and out where your housing is going to be. Okay, so leave it open for now. I'll put my housing through the cable now. Put the cable through the housing. Okay, so I'm putting the housing into where it sits. Where the heck? There you go. So it just sits in there like that. I'll pull the cable from over here. Get that to sit back in because it came out. Put that in there again. And I will close this little window. Okay, so everything should be right here. I'm going to actually fold back the hood just to make it out of the way. Makes it easier when you're indexing the gears because these can actually interfere with the movement of the gears. Okay, so it's going to sit like that. Okay. Okay, so now we bring this down to the bracket underneath the bottom bracket and feed it through it and then up. The problem here with my brake cable is in the way, so I'm going to try to just go back and bring it above my brake cable. You do not want it rubbing on your brake cable. So bring it over the brake cable. That's much better, yeah. Okay, so now that you have the cable through the frame, you're at the derailleur. I'll bring around this side of the bike. Just here, it's just like a cap. Oh, don't lose it. It's just like a cap that sits over the bolt there. Makes it look well. Okay. So now, what we do is I'm going to pull up the cable through this hole. It's going to come up this channel here. This here is your pinch bolt. I'm going to loosen this. Bring the cable underneath it. Tighten it up. And away we go. Okay, once you have it up and underneath the bolt, give it a good tight pull. Oh, you should first actually make sure your lever is indexed into the right position. So I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, so it should be on the lever. Thinks it should be on the smallest ring, and it is. So I'm just gonna give it a good pull. Make sure it's good and taut down the frame. So this cable is still pretty loose to me. I don't like that. Okay, so I just gave it a pull on the cable and actually felt something coming down. So I'm gonna loosen this off again. And give it another pull. And you don't have to be right yet. There's a bolt here for tensioning it. So that is, let me just get this right. Yeah, so 2mm on the key. So now when you have that as tight as you can, still fairly loose, this here bolt, when you tighten this, you'll see this will start to pull on this wire here, the cable. It's just going to take up that slack that I couldn't get. Oh yes, that's very good now. That's gotten great tension there. So now, let's just see, I'll get this cable out of the way. So I'm going to just try to move the derailleur, see how they come up. Okay, it went pretty smoothly actually. Well, I can see if I keep my finger on the, if I keep my hand on the lever here, I'm really gone too far, you can hear it rubbing. So let's just see what I move it back down. Okay, so okay, let's put the knock okay. And then okay. Alright. I actually like that. I don't need to adjust that. I'm going to give it a wee pull on the cable, and it's coming out a bit too far. You can see it coming out too far. It's pushing, starting to push the chain here. So I'm going to keep pulling the cable with my hand, and the limit bolt in there I'm going to adjust so it can't come out so far. I really want to do this, so this will stop my chain from coming off my crankset when I'm out on the road. Okay, so I literally can't push it over there. So now, as you can see, it literally can't pull it over the crankset. I won't allow it. It's just tipping it there, but I don't mind that. As it's turning, it's not going near it. Okay. I think I'm pretty close now, actually. I want to just do that double check. happy with that at the moment. Nothing I need to fine tuned. Back I've already done. I'll show you how to do that again. It's quite simple, similar. You do your limit stops up, and you have your limit bolts, which stops it from going top to bottom. I can't remember if I showed you or not, so I did show you, but I don't know if it's saved. Anyway, I'll have a look again. So once you've that, give it a good nip. You want it to move. Same your bolt on. Again, remember, break anything. So I'm happy with that. I can clip this now. Don't clip it too short in case you have to work on it. So again, it came with this little cable end. Just pop it over. And your cable, some cable cutters have an actual press at the back of them here, so you can press that onto the cable. This is to stop the cable from being frayed over time, sticking into your leg. Okay. Just bend it out of your way a bit because we don't want that annoying us. Okay. Right, so that's that done. Throw my clutch as I can. Nearly there. So nearly there. Just to put on my bar tape and then I can ride this sucker. Now, before I do any of that though, I want to just fine tune these. I think I'm happy where they are. However, I didn't tighten them fully, so before you do that, you get a nasty surprise when you're out in the road and your hood starts slipping. 5 and Allen key. Again, make sure you don't overdo anything. So this is up to you where you want them. I like to have them just so it's a nice straight transition from the bar to the hood.